Ian Hay from Edinburgh rang in with this thought.
In view of the fact that BBC staff are paid in exactly the same way by a compulsory tax, when are we going to find out the salaries and the expense claims and the receipts of all BBC employees, from the highest to the lowest, but perhaps more particularly the highest, the ones who come on television programmes endlessly and make a lot of noise about it?
Surprisingly, on Tuesday, Mr. Hague got at least some of the information he wanted in a feisty discussion between presenter Carrie Gracie and Labour peer Lord Fuchs.
MPs are going around the country in their constituencies doing a great deal of work. You never focus on that. They're paid £64,000. How much are you paid for coming on to television, harassing members of Parliament, harassing other people in this way? Could you tell me, how much are you being paid out of the licence fee?
My salary is...
freedom of information, what is it?
My salary is £92,000.
£92,000. So you're paid nearly twice as much as a Member of Parliament to come on and talk nonsense on television.
Every single call I make from my own phone. I don't even make a personal call from the BBC because I understand what public sector money is about.
And my understanding is that John Humphreys is paid hundreds of thousands of pounds. Jeremy Paxman is paid nearly £1 million to come on television and sneer at democracy and undermine democracy.
The great majority of viewers who contact us about that interview were in support of Carrie Gracie, saying she was well worth her salary. But there was dissent from this anonymous caller.
The arrogant newsreader lady having a go at the politician. She earned £92,000 a year for doing it, to say the least. That is a disgusting figure.
So has the BBC been guilty of hypocrisy and hype in its reporting of MPs' expenses? I'm joined from our Westminster studio by the BBC's head of political programmes, Sue English. Sue English, nobody would deny this is an important and huge story, but some viewers thought the coverage went just that little bit too far. Do you think there's anything in that?
I'm sorry to hear that some viewers thought that, but I genuinely don't agree with that. I think we've done this story in as responsible and balanced and fair and accurate way as we possibly can. I mean, as you pointed out, it's an incredibly important story. It goes to the heart of the political process. It's a matter of huge public interest, and it's also a matter that the public are very interested in. I mean, we, for example, have had something like 16,000 comments on the online debate on this subject over the last week. Local radio stations across the country are besieged by people calling in. So, you know, it's a very important story, and it's an important story for us to do well. And I genuinely believe that we have done. I do not accept that we have in any sense made a mockery of the political classes. That is absolutely not what political journalists do.
What about viewer comments that not everyone deserved the odium that they got? For instance, the Prime Minister was dragged into this because of cleaning expenses shared with his brother. And although it was made clear that the Prime Minister had done no wrong, wasn't there an element here of guilt by association just because he was the Prime Minister?
No, I don't think there was. I mean, this was obviously the first element of the Daily Telegraph stories that came out starting last Friday. And, you know, we covered that story, as we've done all the allegations that have come out over the last week, by reporting what the Daily Telegraph was claiming, but also by seeking comments and reaction from the people involved. And wherever we were unable to get reaction from the people who the allegations concerned, we said that very clearly in our reporting.
And some viewers have made the point that an element of hypocrisy involved here in publicly funded presenters who earn much more often than most politicians. And also most journalists are notoriously good at filling in their expenses. Is there an element of hypocrisy inevitably in this?
Well, no, I do find this a really rather strange accusation, actually. I mean, are we saying that somehow we shouldn't be doing this story, or we shouldn't be asking robust questions? I think most of our viewers would be very disappointed indeed if we weren't asking robust questions. I genuinely don't think that the salary of BBC presenters has got anything to do with this. This is a story about MPs' allowances and expenses, and that's what we're reporting.
Going forward, is there a danger that the fallout from this will have been a further corrosion of the relationship between political journalists and the political class, and an inevitable lowering of esteem of politicians in the public mind, with damaging results for society?
Well, I mean, obviously, all of those of us who are involved in reporting politics hope that that isn't the case. I mean, it is a very important story. It's a story that's developing in ways that I think none of us might have expected. You know, I think it's very hard to see where it's going.
Sue English, thank you very much indeed.